Greetings everybody and welcome back to Daddy DeGrand, the Granddaddy Plays Pyre. Man, I gotta say, I do feel a bit bad about that last one. I mean, Utmild, she was very crazy, but it kind of feels wrong of me to have robbed these persons of their chance to practice their religion, you know? Religion is a very powerful thing that can give people a lot of hope for their lives. And look at that, everyone retired. They all retired. Except us. Even the dissidents who had a very good score going for them. Oh well, better than us. Let's continue our story. And our journey back to the place we belong.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot.
Your point?
They are exploiting you.
That may be.
You shall never have your freedom.
Acceptable. Was that all? Damn. You see, I would have expected you to be actually good at these distasteful speeches. By dawn, you're already up and about after a troubled slumber. The Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Solium. No one speaks. It is actually something I really noticed as the game progressed. The game is very open about that, but I feel like the overall conversation has really dropped down. Partly, of course, because I have lost so many good companions to freedom, but also just because the mood dictates that. As you lift into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain old ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play this song for the Night Wings? Please, by all means, play it. You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. He begins without another word. I am going to take this flight slow. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps here. Damn. Oh, he got me with that last one. So here's something fun. While I was traveling, I was actually unable to boost. I was saying I would take it slow, but I still tried it one time just because I can, and turned out I couldn't. They wanted me to hear that song entirely, and I am very glad that I went and did it. Favor for him or favor for her? I feel like I go favor for him again. Can I land? There we go. By the way, that was a beautiful song. Darren Korb, you are an absolute hero. You touched down amid the sublime grandeur of Mount Elodiel to make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside, for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. Nobody, huh? You, something to say, girl? My lovely reader comes again. To what do I owe the pleasure? All is coming to an end. You still don't feel like talking to me, girl. I take offense to that. I thought we had something special going on. After having landed, you joined Wolfrid on an expedition to the monument of Yomware Manimane for what is likely to be the final time. Hear me, O scribes. Long have I served your will, and long have I pursued the path which you revealed to me. Our plan now stands on a precipice. If we prevail this night, then we may yet achieve its goals. We would reform the Commonwealth under the auspice... What's that word? Auspices? Which you yourself described within your book. As we shall stand together, so I ask that you please stand with us. By your divine grace, we may yet prevail. And please have mercy on Aurelak as well. Soon he is finished, you return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Yomuya Manimane has shown you favor. At dawn you shall begin your last ascent. For now your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. More presents, that's good. I don't think there's anyone I really can... Oh, there is! I can actually mentor Bertrude. She is not quite done. Let us then discuss these matters which you believe should be of benefit. You and Bertrude review what observations you have made thus far about the various triumvirates you have confronted on your journey. She has keen insights about some of them. There we go, girl. Long have we sought to fathom all the darkest secrets hidden by the light of the stars. Now at last, the stars themselves revoke their station in the night, and we have finally achieved an inkling of this. Let's see. I think this one is overall a bit more beneficial to us and our cause. But this one may also be pretty powerful. I go with this one though. Play to win, not play not to lose. Those who deign confront us, we shall give increasing reasons to beware. That sounds like a plan, my girl. Let's keep going then. And I need to really consider who I want to free in here. There's also the idea of actually just losing. A messenger in with news and rumors from the other side manages to track down your wagon in the old masonry of Mount Alodiel. The imp's latest information is about none other than Tizo, who you liberated at the fall of Solium. Everybody says he is the first creature of his kind to come to the Commonwealth. Also, I noticed a change in music there. While this unique status brought Tizo no shortage of prestige, he nonetheless experienced difficulty acclimating to the new environment. It seems that he grew quite despondent. Then at last he managed to track down Wolfrid's agents, with whom he is working to find a means to bring more exiles home. Thus far has the revolution grown stronger. He also left for you a special verbal message via his most trusted messenger, who rears up and intones, "Scree-he-you." He wants me to know that he is doing well, but misses me and hopes to see me again. We will, one day, my dear friend. You thank the messenger for the report and ask that it relay your kind regards. Your companions soon begin to talk in turn. Very, very right, that one. Will have served well as our familiar. Perhaps someday yet it shall be so. I am so happy for him. I wish I could have had a friend like him when I was there. You did it, little one. You'd scarce believe how long our Tizo toiled here in service of the Nightwings. He deserves his peace more than us all. I shall look forward to our next reunion, Tizo. Perhaps when we are back among the stars. The news of Tizo's adventures in the Commonwealth fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. That's nice. Tizo doesn't need luck, for he has skill and charm. You stand before the Scribe's Gate with your companions. The Gate Guardian is there as ever, but you sense something is different in her. The exiles of the Nightwings, we shall not meet again after the coming rite. Tariq and I, it shall be time we take our rest, I think. Salutium. I understood that. Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared through this time. I am uncertain anyone amongst us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq. And then what, Celeste? And then nothing. Not for the rites, not for us. Not till the dawn of a new age. Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what it is that you seek whilst crossing Scribe's Gate. I mean, it is clear to see that Tariq has some carnal interest in this woman, and I can see why. God knows, I hope she is getting a bit more relaxed about the matter soon. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. My name is Wolfred Sandalwood. I long as yet to see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. Oh, my name is Bay, and I am here because the scribes, this is the path that they have shown me, and all of us. I like it when they call to me. Finally, I step forth once more. You, a common wanderer who vowed to help his friends be free again, and who managed to come this far with his group. The gate guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway toward the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except for you, Starik. You stay right there. I thought you said... The rites are not yet ended, Tarik. He looks to her, then over to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The Gate Guardian and the Lone Minstrel remain together as the rest of us depart. Dang, boy. Finally pulling through. I'm happy for you, brother. Alright. Will this be the end of a long journey, or just the beginning? You have gained the summit of Mount Alodiel for the 7th time, the final time in which any of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. And of course... Okay, this is special. The Beyonder Crystal seeks me out, and Ron has something to say. Hey guys, I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, well, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know? What with the stores all fading out and stuff. Anyways, just wanted to say, you guys are great, and I'm sure I'm going to miss having you guys as customers and all of that. But I got some good news too. All my stuff, it's all on sale now, and I will throw a little extra there just for you, okay? So, enjoy. Maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay? Henceforth, all of Falconrod's goods are 5% off. Great. And he has a bit more of that stuff coming my way. Here, have it all. Have it all, my friend. Yeah, I don't think I really need any of this. But you know what? Might as well go hard on these things, right? I go for one more for presence, and I also get one for quickness. And you know what? Might as well go hard and also buy one for hope. Do they stack? Let's try. I can't afford that, sadly. I'm going to make this one work. Only for one though. Damn. Was it the present one I used? It was. I wanted to use it on him. Quickness. You can have that. Oh, only one per person, huh? Okay, sure. You can have hope then. Sure, let's give Wolfred wait, only one? At all? Okay, cool, whatever. I get you, I get you. You guys have a good day out there. Alright, let's see what the crystal is asking of me, but only after we have educated ourselves a bit more. Downside climate. I know of no polite way to describe the climate here. It oppresses every living thing, except perhaps the native flora in a few specific areas. Once more, the recommended course is to keep moving. Moving keeps you warm when it's cold. Or, when it is very hot, use what strength you can to move to somewhere you can think and breathe. The red and the downside seems intrinsic to the different regions, which my good friend Molten Millith shall describe. Shelter can be difficult to find and you cannot stay in it for a very long time. Perhaps, however, shelter can accompany you, rather than constrain you. Yeah, these black wagons, they are very, very good. Alright, Sandra. Thank you for visiting on such short notice, reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. So, let me be blunt. Please listen for a moment then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end. All of it. I sense the binds that formed the rites becoming weak. Which means, soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still. My services will not be of any further use. I would love to tell you that this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some, I be honest, it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those which have bound me. They shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. She hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it shall be. By that I mean, take the stone prison of mine and keep it. Do not just leave it, as all your predecessors have, each time their stay among the Nightwings reached an end. Soon the Beyonder Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I would prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company to an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain in years and to eventually decay whilst I remain unchanging. But I should rather have more years whilst having contact. Even if those years are to be brief, they shall afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit, for your own sake. May all this rights business enrich your coming days somehow. And in considering that life after this night, if you think that there may be a place in it for me, however small, then once again, I simply ask that you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again sometime, you could, and I would like to have that as an option more than not. My request to you is a selfish one, for there's little I can offer in exchange, other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep once in a while. That's neat. Who knows, you could always try to sell the Beyonder Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then, you have heard my settler proposal. What do you say? Agree and do it. You are going with me, girl. You grasp the Beyonder Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound as though surprised. Thank you, Rita. She is at a loss for a moment, then... Let us go, then, from this place. Go and face your last remaining adversaries. May you crush them under your heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. She disappears into the stone for now. You took the Beyonder Crystal with me. Ah, looks weird, this space without her, right? None. Nothing for now. No more words, no more reading, just the final liberation. You have gained the summit of Mount Elodial for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rite. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there, perhaps, some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far. Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well, this night and always. Go forth with glory. You too, brother. You too. Then he looks up and he extends his hand in friendship. I clasp it. You see that Trude has joined us. All of your companions are there with her, in fact. Reading one. Thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now, let us achieve our plan. Oh, hi, mister. The others, they said they wanted me to join them and come talk to you, so here I am. The scribes are watching us. Bless your soul, girl. Look upon your fellow exiles, your companions with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs. After this night, the outcome of Wolfred's plan, the plan of which you all have been a part, shall be decided, one way or another. 86%, huh? For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversaries, so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. The final liberation of this age shall now commence. Getting a bit of goosebumps, guys. I have to turn this off, right? Oh, this one gives me 10% enlightenment. That's actually pretty cool. 3, 3, 10%. 3, 3, 3, 3.
Limbless Erzek.
Just wanted to check out how much these all give. I think in total that would be around 50%, 40-50%. If you use all of them, that is. Alright, Aurelek. Let's put an end to this. Having come this far, you need but take the final steps upon your quest for freedom.
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader.
I'm looking alright.
Hear me, for one last time.
Okay.
For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days.
Oh, you'll miss me, right?
In that forsaken land, where you deserve to be.
Oh, come on, that was the best up in there.
The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite.
Let's go with that.
None other than yourselves.
So it would seem.
So unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free.
Oh, don't be like that.
You deserve each other.
I really feel like actually letting Aurelic win this one. The pyres burn and each of the triumvirate is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as per the custom, not another word. The demon Aurelic slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I waited this. My freedom once was stolen from me, then I was cheated of it, here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once again. He stands there for a moment silent, then Aurelic dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damn rites cease forever for the misery which they caused. Oh, they have a strong pyre. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one whom you anoint, or else the exile Aurelic shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the stars remaining light grows dim. Your decision, please. It is now time to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside till the end of your days. One by one, you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Wolfred, Bay, Bertrude. Your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now the downside of the rites conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. 86%. Are you prepared to do this one last time? No, the pressure is too great. It seems both cruel and unfair to have to make such a decision. I want to find out what happens if I do this. Having to make this last decision is unconscionable. It is too much, you hesitate, but then you sense a reassuring voice enter your thoughts. Do not give in, reader, do not give in. We stand with you. The choices you are about to make, however you shall go about and whatever the outcome, we understand. And so you need not hesitate, and you need not explain. So please trust in yourself, for all the rest of us, we trust in you. You reconsider what you are about to do. You cannot go back down. Yes, for there is no turning back. With but a glance, you reassure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
Final opportunity for salvation.
There's an
Bad for the rest of you.
buy update for you. I want to read it. Oh yeah, he was a physician, I actually forgot that. He was repulsed by what he saw on the blood border, which sold his heart a yearning for a greater peace. He tried to use his influence to negotiate a treaty with the hiring remnants, but not everyone was swayed. One day, he received direct orders to return to the front. When he refused to soil his hands again, they cast him down. There in time he became affiliated with the Nightwings and grew to become one of their finest riot conductors. Until tragedy struck and he was left clinging to a life at foot of the sacred mountain. What is this? Oh yeah, that's a very strong Pyre I have to fight against. After being benched by an adversary, chances to return immediately. Oh, that's a savage. He is going to fight and jump fast. And an imp. I don't know what to do, guys. I'm going with Wolfred. It is his rebellion. I feel like at the moment where all is going down, he should be there for his people. Even though I was very distrustful for him at the beginning. Let's go with him. Long have I dreamt that I might someday see this plan of ours come to fruition. Promise you that I shall make the most of it if we are to prevail. Your choice is cast. As for your other companions, who sense clarity of thought and purpose in each of them, they stand ready to support Wolfred as well as you. Blessed are the scribes who grant to me and all of us a final chance that we might free our dear friend Wolfred. This will is ours. Reading 1. Let the remaining stars shed their last light upon our ceremony here. Those are to be my adversaries then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts his will over that group? You sense Auralek searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you who would relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them? Strange. It is fitting then that I should have to face one such as you. Then Auralek stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. By light of dawn, the cycle of the rats shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tariq? I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste. Let us make sure of it. This is hard for me, guys. Everything in me wants Auralek to go free. I feel it is the right thing to do. Yet here we are. Oop. Should have pressed space there. Got one. There we go. Nice. No, Bay can make... Ooh, what is the jump? Got each other there. Auralek. Good man, great guy. Nice. Very nice indeed. Okay, Bertruda can make a run for it. Damn. Couldn't make it in time, sadly. Got one. Nice. Alright. Damn. Damn. Nice. Got him. Oh no! Mr. Jump. There we go, girl. Ooh, boy. There we go. The first one. You are the Raymonds once again. I could not simply stand by and do nothing, Auralek. Yet that is what you did. When last we stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell, you simply stood. Auralek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal? Auralek seems to consider the question, but only for a moment. Give me my deemed freedom. Let me prevail, here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan? To bring about a better Commonwealth? Doesn't even tell me the percentage chance. No, I make no promise. I owe you nothing. Then I am sorry, Auralek. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. You love be damned, Wolfred. Let us stand as adversaries then. If you would have said yes there, I would have absolutely freed him. I would have at least considered it. Damn. This guy. I feel like he's confused there. Ooh. That's bad. Jump. Damn. Got me. Put that there. No. His aura was bigger than mine. Nice. There we go. That was strong indeed. Very nice going, Bertrude. The sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyres all mingle with them. Just then, the skies above begin to rain down fire. The final throes of the circle of rites and the ending of the age. Oh, he's angry now. What? Oh, come now. This isn't fair.
Grown old and bitter all these many years.
Okay, they're all back now. Ooh, that was a good one. Throw it over to Bay. Good. That's the one I wanted to. Good placement there. There's more ash coming down. Oh, these imps are so fast. Aurelic is down. The imp is down. He was faster than I was. Spreading fire. Got them all. Yeah, it was pretty neat. That's where the ash is going to come down again, right? Yeah.
Spectacularly done.
Indeed, Bertrude, indeed. Humph. So the false Nightwings bear their fangs at last. But that cannot be your finest effort. You think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you. Oh, I am fighting, my boy. I am fighting. There you go. See, that's how I fight. Oh, he faked me out there. Damn.
All three Nightwings, poof.
Poof indeed.
I thought they had you there.
So did I. Ooh. Ah, he has more presence than I do.
Nightwings go.
He walked into that. What a man. There we go, babe. That's my girl. Big jumps. Aurelic stands, breathing heavily. He looks back on the thin lick of the flame that is his smoldering pyre, before turning his attention back to your triumvirate. He's losing hope, I think. There you go, boy. Oh, you got it off. It's one down. Damn. I was about to get the jump off. There. There. That wasn't the direction I wanted to go. Damn. That imp and that human, they are keeping the flank very clear. Woo! You're quick! Nice. Damn. Man, if only Bertrude had a bit more stamina. They got it in. Nice. Got me there, got me good. Oh, thanks for throwing that over. Drop the ball. Got one, got two. Almost got three. And we won. The final liberation rite.
Nightwings proved their worth.
Yes.
As for their adversaries, they did not.
So what, do we consider this a draw or what?
Liberation right. And thus, the scribes have chosen
Praise the scribes, we have done it. You look upon Wolfred for what you expect shall be the last time you see each other. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf him. Any moment now, he shall return to glory and join his agents in the Commonwealth to help achieve the plan. Any moment now, the cycle of the rites shall end until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus the scribes have chosen.
They have.
And thus the scribes have chosen.
They have.
And thus the scribes have chosen.
Performance issues.
Oh,
Yes.
Nightwings. Reader, what have you done?
No freedom for Wolfred, huh? Hold, there's something wrong. Each prior time upon this fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened, following the liberation rite, and taken in whichever exile prevailed. But now all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Aurelic approaches, his head bowed. The 8 scribes save their greatest treachery for last. Then something else catches his notice. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again. Different somehow, but open. Wolfred looks upon it, but it does not engulf him, or at least not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes, this is not their greatest treachery. It is their greatest jest. This Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems that you are worthy now of freedom. Aurelic strides towards the Shimmer Pool, but... Hold, Aurelic! He glances over to the lone minstrel, almost in surprise. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely drown. Of that I can assure you. He laughs to himself at this. Then we all have been cheated. No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed and one of you may still return, as planned. But as for who returns, someone shall have to choose. Ere the last light of the stars is extinguished and the rites cease to be. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes? Then our confrontation, the liberation rite, it was all meaningless? No, the victor of the confrontation is to be the one to make the choice among those closest to the scribes. Either the anointed or he who anointed them. So then the choice is mine to make. My freedom weighed against the reader's, is that it? Aye, it shall be either you, the reader, or... It shall be either or. Wolfred, please, make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. A snap decision then. Fine, I have made it. Reader, my boy, the chance at freedom that we've earned, it's yours. Take it now and make good use of it, for you and all of us. Wolfred wishes to give up his freedom so that you may gain yours. Very well. Reader, sir, the choice which Wolfred made, or rather the choice which he gave, it is now yours to make instead. This choice, it may keep bouncing back and forth like this, absurd. It may, until such time as one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the trial, and I fear that there is little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companion are too cordial with each other to accept that freedom, either one of you, then I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought to be more than some flirtatious trifle to exchange. Reader, what is your will? This is a rough one to make. This is a rough one to make. This is my chance and Wolfred wished that I should take it. Your intention this night was for him to return to glory and it shall be done. He earned his rightful freedom a long time ago. He deserves his justice. I still hope that by fulfilling the plan, there is some way to actually make it so that all of the people can come out of the downside for good. That is my sincerest hope. And for that to come true, I feel like either Wolfred or I have to be free. I go myself. I truly believe this is the best choice of action here. Ah, screw it, go, you son of a... He looks at you with some astonishment. Wilfred, sir, do you accept the reader's choice or shall you make another? Yes, I accept the reader's choice in this. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, my boy, and I'm afraid that I don't know what else to say. Then it is done. You see a look of genuine surprise flash across Wilfred's face, and then he is gone. You gave a chance at freedom so that Wilfred may yet have his. May he return in glory. I trust, I hope that with the revelation successful, they find a way.
The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it?
Oh, something
What
good.
shall become of us?
Something great.
Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
Clearly it was not. I gotta say, the big point that really sold me on even being interested in this plan was the idea that they forbid literacy. This is the first time I'm seeing this one go up this far. That night, the exile Wilfred returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded and the cycle of the rites had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in great upheaval. Spurred by the efforts of 6 liberated exiles, Wilfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. The people surged into the streets, shoulder to shoulder. Led by the 6 exiles, their voices shook the heavens. The leadership of the Commonwealth panicked. No blood was shed that night, and by dawn it was over. The leaders of the Commonwealth had cast themselves back into exiles or joined in this new cause. Thus, in its 838th year, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Zarian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today we still remember all of this, and remember the exiles of the downside whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. True freedom, huh? When Wilfred Sandalwood regained his freedom, he knew that his work had only just begun. The nation that had exiled him to life in the downside now prepared to honor him, but he was not interested in such ceremony, nor in freedom on the Commonwealth's own terms. He soon rejoined his agents, with whom he had been coordinating for years, slowly, carefully preparing for a night that soon would come. For Sandalwood and his loyalists and sympathizers, true freedom was at stake, not just theirs but that of everyone living under the Commonwealth. He hoped to gather liberated exiles representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the riots having ended sooner than expected, this optimal scenario became impossible, but Sandalwood did not relent and prepared to execute his plan, imperfect though it was. With ambitious plot to spark a revolution in the Commonwealth as peaceful as possible. On the night of the scribe's return, he stood as one of 6 former exiles of the Nightwings, and their voices echoed together through the streets. Inspired by the liberated exiles, the people of the Commonwealth demanded new leadership. These former exiles, who all have disappeared into the ranks of the Commonwealth's own leadership, now stood united with its people, who poured from their homes in solidarity. It was imperative to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature. An overwhelming show of popular support would be more than enough. Ensuring this was his priority that night, and in the end, the result was self-evident. The plan's goal had been achieved. Sandalwood's work was far from over still. He labored ceaselessly with representatives from across the population to restore a sense of stability. This transitional period had its troubles, though none that were not quickly solved. Such was the will and spirit of the people. They understood their freedom, carried new responsibility. After the Zarian Union was born the next year, Sandalwood was elected as the nation's first prime minister. It was not his intent to run for this office, but the people chose him anyway. Yeah, we've seen that one. He led our fledgling nation through its nascent years. One of his allies in all of this was the imp Tiso, with whom he traveled all across the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tiso as the wellspring of his own enthusiasm for a brighter future, such was the creature's spirit. As Wolfred gained more fame throughout this land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, he remained ever steadfast about two things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles of the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day on his birthday, the people of the Zarian Union presented to him a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. It has since ensured that those of us memories will more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. That was a lengthy speech at his behest. Oh yeah, I want to know what happened to Ron. With the rites drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Run was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial learning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Run had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave to it one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth and nearly minted coinage from the Zarian Union. Falcon Run cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Though his trade remained a grey area from a legal standpoint in the Zarian Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Run's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bread Roots and found a distribution partner on the legal other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in the Zarian Union, Falcon Run's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. That's neat. Let's see how Rookie is faring then. After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could hope for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to his better judgment, as he did end up signing with Wolfred Sandalwood's revolutionary forces as he promised. On the night of Scribe's return, Greentail was there with the others, inspiring the masses. He never looked prouder, the very image of Yomir Many-Man himself. When dawn finally came and it became clear that the Commonwealth that everybody knew would be no more, he realized many new opportunities awaited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good and soon his family was well off, as he always said. One of his orders of business was to seek out one of his old companions, Pamitha Thane, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. He also kept in close touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would trade together often, taking care to stay in tip-toe shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss of words sometimes. Pamitha, huh? Let's see her. After regaining her freedom, Pamitha Thane found herself in a difficult position. Having once betrayed the people of the hiring remains, she knew that she would not be welcome in her native home. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Wolfred Sandalwood's agents, who were busy doing their part to fulfill the plan. As it turned out, the plan was a success. Pamitha Thane stood shoulder to shoulder with her other fellow former exiles, and truly, they were a sight to behold. A disturbing rumor later spread that night the High Wing remnants were slated to mount an assault, which for some reason never came to pass. Penthar denied any knowledge or involvement. Afterward, Penthar played an active part in negotiating terms between the High Wing remnants and the new nation that would become our Saurian Union. Her previous attempt at something of the sort led to her exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time around. Sometimes later, Penthar had an unexpected run-in with Rookie Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time while traveling with the Nightwings. Under these new set of circumstances, it turned out the two had more to talk about, and rather more in common. They would often put to test which one was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Penthar received an invitation to return to the High Wing remnants, where she was to be fully pardoned. She held out a hope that she might see her blood sister Tamitha there, knowing full well that Tamitha did not regain her freedom. Tamitha did later learn that Penthar was welcomed back by their people. However, she never responded to her blood sister's attempt to contact her. Penthar in turn did not expect forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out, she said, to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. That sounds like a Penthar thing to do. Later when asked, Penthar Thane admitted she felt as though she had no home to call her own. This was during an interview conducted amid an extensive trip abroad, for she had traveled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Saurian Union. Penthar continued to journey thus, citing that it reminded her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Alright, we had Rookie, let's see what Gilman is all about then. Actually no, let's see what Tamitha is. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Thane was motivated by a single goal: to return to the Commonwealth and exact vengeance on her ancient enemies. When she realized the rites had ended and that she would never see her mountain home again, she nonetheless remained determined to aid her people wherever possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after the liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defenses and revealed to the High Wing remnant the opportunity for a risky but potentially impactful strike. As Tamitha could not participate in the assault, she learned what happened well after the outcome. On that night, known as the Scraps Return, the Commonwealth had fallen. The High Wing remnants thus prevailed and last without even having to fight. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha learned her blood sister, Pamitha, was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamitha was very skeptical of this, but as similar reports kept mounting, she soon accepted the prevailing opinion, however grudgingly. Once a messenger imp arrived bearing some sort of message, seemingly from Pamitha. However, Tamitha turned it away. She would not give in to an impulse to forgive. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the cracks of Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness. Alright, who's next? Oh yeah, I wanna know what happened to Auralek. After the Shimmer Pool closed for what would be the last time, Auralek looked around him in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre. He then turned to the fall of Solium and looked upward to the black, starless sky. He cursed the 8 scribes then, one after another. After that he strode forward towards the waters coursing from the side of Mount Elodial and, without hesitating, he cast himself down. Auralek's body was never recovered. The drop of Mount Elodial does not appear survivable, though Auralek did survive it once. That time, however, he was filled with fury. Such was the betrayal he had suffered when his fellow exile claimed his rightful freedom. This time, Auralek was filled with nothingness, and thus chose to leave the downside in the one way he still knew he would. The other Nightwings who were witness to this never forget what they saw. This hurts me. Oh man, now I have a very, 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 very hard conscience on me. Oh boy. Let's see what Sarah's up to. After the cycle of the riots ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles of the Nightwings who remained in the downside continued to make use of the Black Dragon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition of Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Dragon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather that the visions that it granted were anything more than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bogs offer still another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Ark had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired long with the line of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra the Beyonders is beyond and difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claim to have seen this apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. That's cute. What's this? Can you believe this, reader? Honestly. Sandra has appeared before you, as well as you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense. I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She is referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing when next they are at it. Though they shall never know even the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. One moment, I need to hydrate myself. My throat is getting coarse. I swear, these Pyre episodes, they have so much reading in them. Oh yeah, I humor her. I feel like that is something we would do, right? The account was relatively flattering despite the lack of detail. Perhaps making some light of the situation will make Sandra feel better. You indicate to Sandra that the real truth of what happened between you would perhaps make too lascivious a tale to be told in such a format. She makes a bemused sound at this. Perhaps that story ought to get out then. To think that they would go to all the trouble to make literacy accepted once again, only to print such drivel. Anyway, let us keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it, that is what matters. She fades into the Beyonder Crystal for now, and you tuck it away safe. So as to keep it with me then. Interesting. Let's see. I want to see what he is up to. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Tempest to call it quits. But first, he and the Tempest decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. Their revelry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long and took on many lovers in his time. Oh, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curly Horns and what became of her. I knew he could not forget in Jodariel. Those glory days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time. Sounds like a win for me. Speaking of Jodariel, after her liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Sarian Union. It feels good seeing you again, girl. Her horns and stern countenance inspired the people to believe that she was solely a Myrrh reborn. She became a great, if reluctant, leader. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and of state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a coordinal bunch at first, but soon came to value the service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many, many times. She often had to stop herself from fearing for Bay, whom she had tried to look after as much as possible in the downside. Soon she would reassure herself that Bay was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact, she was not mistaken. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part. Ah, she is such a good girl. She is a very, very good woman. After his liberation, Hadwin was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital to the outcome of the plan. The peaceful outcome of the Scribe's return was attributed to several key factors. One of them was the underlying ambition of the plan itself. Another was Hadwin's visibility among the people in the streets. Identified to be a liberated exile, he was believed to be Gol-Golathanian reborn. More importantly, however, was that one of the winged harps of the Highwing remnants accompanied him. She was later identified as Fikani Shang. Oh, interesting. I did not know that his loved one was a harp. A harp for whom Hadwin cared deeply. They were separated when Hadwin was exiled. Fascinating. Their bond was symbolic of what was at stake that night, and it proved vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as the leader of the Zarian Union, Hadwin oft confided in his friend Jardariel. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hadwin would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Jardariel, Rookie Greentail, and the Reader of the Nightwings that they might be all free again together. He had broken that vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return, and terrible guilt all this darkened his mood over time. However, the others whom he still knew lifted his spirits, much like he had often lifted theirs. All of the Nightwings knew the stakes. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact thus, Hadwin thought of each of them often, and so in turn did they think of him. Oh man, yeah, I would have liked to make it my way back there, but apparently I decided to go against it, right? When manly Tinderstorff realized the rites had ended and that he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through his ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all of his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his royalty family on the other side via Messenger Imp and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to refit a flying black dragon with superior propulsion. He tried an imp-raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderstorff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. Alas, such was his shame that he retreated through the teeming woods of Black Basin to Cinderroot. There he had wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Yeah, I am very not unhappy about that turn of development. Speak of people who I don't like. After the final liberation rite, Lennel refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of signal that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lennel dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted, rather forcefully, that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again, and mark the way towards his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lennel the Liar was never seen again. However, there have been since sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lennel's cruel countenance, suggesting he yet lives. Ah, he becoming a demon, huh? Teaser. Does that make us happy? The imp called Teaser was the first of his kind to achieve liberty through the rites. While he was not the only imp trained in the ways of the scribes, imps are native to the downside and thus care not for traveling aboard. This made them useful to triumvirates. Yet Tiso entered a different calling, and the Nightwings believed that he too could play a key part in Sandalwood's plan. During the night of Scribe's return, he stood out to the populace as something of a miracle. They had only heard of downside imps before, from legends of Haup the Swallow. Afterwards, he became something of an icon, representing both the fall of the Commonwealth and the beginning of the new area. Sun was sometimes called for his assistance, and Tiso was always happy to oblige. The two would often reminisce about their times with the Lone Minstrel. Tiso often missed his interactions with the reader of the Nightwings. They had quickly built quite a rapport back in the downside. Once merely the status of a deviant, yet now a revert title in the Saurian Union. And Tiso would often express wistful gratitude for all his time conducting the rites alongside the Nightwings who made such sacrifices for him. Other than that, Tiso was diligent about his role as something of a living artifact and helped interpret for the messenger imp that relayed news to and from the downside. Despite having gained significant celebrity, he never let it go to his head. Although he did take full advantage of his access to the Saurian Union's fishing industry. That's good. That's exactly what I expected to happen. The scribe, eh? After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, the Lone Minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Elodiel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through a song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saurian Union and merely were imbued with weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties as of the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. That's the one I'm hoping for. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. Alright, who's next? Oh yeah, I really want to know how she is doing. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Oatmild returned to the Flagging Hands region, where she sealed herself within Pit of Malice. There, even her fellow exiles of the Withdrawn allegedly grew unnerved after the time, left her to her wild work. Sometime later, the Pit of Millith erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that it could be seen all the way from Yomuea Valley. Arson was suspected, though the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee. A tempest blowing from the north finally quenched the flames. When at last the ashes settled and the grounds had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of Witch Oatmild could be found. As for the contents of the Pit of Millith, which notably included a profane object thought to be the remains of Icelag, all of it was gone as well. Back in the Saurian Union, Oatmild's repeated threats of the return of Icelags were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. That's good. Let's see what Sir Deluge is up to. All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth. And now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen, as their last chances to return to their homes vanished, along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for his outcome meant that, at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. I'll be damned, Deluge is getting a happy end. Maybe I should have actually given him his freedom. Okay, the wolves of the dissidents. Barker Ashpaws never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling, so when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given its life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Yomuya Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it all, started to take an interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaw some healthy competition. His old feud with Rookie Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exiles of this time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. I'm very happy that he also got a happy end. I actually really want to know what happens to Sir Gilman now. When the worm Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom: his honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain on the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as it's sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make use of his military training. Thankfully, however, the scribe's return ended peacefully. Gilman was on edge throughout the night, expecting violence to erupt at any moment, but at the moment never came. When the matter was at last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for having studied under the leader of the Nightwings, without whom he would never have completed his penance. Because of this, and perhaps because they were on opposite sides of the world now, Gilman dedicated his life to him. By that point, he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of this abusive leadership was his first step toward gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fears of ice. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. You know what? I think there's a lot of good lessons to be learned from Gilman's resolution there. You know what? I'm committed. I'm going to start doing sports again. As the cycle of the riots drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance at freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Almer's Old Heart's grasp. Thus they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Yomuya Valley. There they struggled to get by, as exiles of the downsides tend to do. Sometimes after the riots ended, the Old Hearts at last heard the news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down, along with his son. Dalbert Oldheart passed peacefully in his deep sleep before the next new moon. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Alma never shared his father's views of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes. And so, after a period of mourning, Alma began a new journey. One day during his travels, he ran almost headlong into another exile after praying homage at the Spring of Yomuya. Please tell me it's Bay. He was stunned to find that this one was none other than the one he knew as Bay, from their days as adversaries in the Pirates. Bay was overjoyed to see him, though Alma was unable to bring himself to understand why. Eventually, of course, he did, and they remained together, growing ever more accustomed to their new lives in the downside. Not a day went by that Alma Oldheart did not think about his father and give thanks to him, and speak to him at morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert's would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him and his kin. That is beautiful. Actually brought a tear to my eye. Long after the riots had ended, Bay admitted that she knew very well, before the fact that she would not be going home again at last, she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed. She took to wandering from one celestial landmark to the next, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes who she believed had influenced all that transpired. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was happy to have company. Through it all, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by a great distance, he always remained in her heart. Though they could not see each other any longer, Bay often thought about Jadariel and spoke to her as though she were there. Bay tried never to make a decision without first consulting her idea of what Miss Jadariel might say. Whenever she felt genuine doubt, which was not very often, she sought out the reader of the Nightwings. If there was anyone whom she trusted as much as the scribes, it was him. One day she encountered one of her former adversaries, one called Alma Oldheart, who had served the Fate. She remembered him much more than he did her, though only just at first. Their shared experiences in the riots and their different points of view about the scribes formed the basis of what grew to be a long-lasting relationship. Bay always was devoted to her Fate, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life in the downside, both with courage and with grace. That's my Bay. I knew she would be okay down here, and I knew she would be feeling probably a bit awkward up there. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live, within the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known as many exiles in the land. With the riots having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps then even monumental events such as the culmination of the riots or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. Though they were very far apart now, she sought out news as to his whereabouts and found his actions in the Sarian Union a rare source of inspiration. By and large, Bertrude kept focused on her work. Whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans, the work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside there was a real need for simple luxuries, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more the living legend. That was all. There's one more account which we once mentioned. The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of him. However, some accounts of him begin to paint a picture. We know he was of common birth, always directionless and prone to misremembering at times. It's true, that's actually true. The journey to the downside left him close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found him. They brought him forth from the brink. He showed them the path. He pressed onward with the others. He had made a vow to help his friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, he remained in exile. From that point on, accounts of him diverge. It is said that the voice which troubled him, he never heard again. Some say he opted for a place to settle in the downside, though whether that is true, only he knows. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, however, and even after, all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived.
Oh, they're singing the song of our story now.
Afraid and alone. When he arrived, the book of rights awakened the Nightwings.
Yeah.
Ignited the flame. They follow the stars.
Is that Hedwin?
Bound together.
I think it might be.
Strands in our brain to
There's Jadariel, alright. Strong and imposing. Oh boy. I kinda wanna listen to this song, but I also want to talk to you guys because... Oh. There he is. Oh, look at that. Art style's lovely. And man, you really see how buff Jadariel is on that picture. It's amazing. And Bay just in the background derping about, having cards in her hand. Too many what? I just heard that Jadariel is a mother. That was all I understood. That he did. I want to see more of that art style. Give it to me. Come on, I want to see that next comic strip. Don't tease me. By the way, that artwork of Bay is just glorious. Just look at that. By the way, where's Rookie's mustache? I just noticed that it is missing. Oh, look at that. It's probably Hedwin in the background fishing. And Bay and Tizo enjoying their fish together. Is that Bertrude in the background? There, in the very center. That's her, right? Has to be her. Oh, man. This game... It was not what I expected it to be. It was far away from anything I expected it to be. But I'll be damned if it wasn't glorious. I had the time of my life. I really haven't had a story-heavy game such as this in a very long time. I mean, sure, I played Bastion. That game had a lot of story, a lot of content, but it wasn't as story-dense as this one. There were so many characters, a lot of choices to make, so many different ways to progress the story. Also, Pamitha does have legs. Interesting. That's good to know. Oh, you know what that is? That is the scene where Hedwin was seasick from the travel on sea. Remember that part? That was good. Let me see if there any voice in here I recognize. Logan did a lot, of course. Darren Korb as well. Darren Korb was voicing Wood Mild. That's rich. That is actually hilarious. Where was I? This was just such a rich game in terms of lore, characters, choices to make, and the gameplay. It was still very enjoyable. I loved it a lot. What do we have here? Oh, Tizo with another one down there in the back. Wolf and Bertrude being together. And Jodariel standing in the back with Pamitha. Special thanks to a lot of people. Just the amount of writing that went into this game. The amount of writing. Like, I was only following one path. And I was winning almost everything. Just imagine how many diverging paths there are. For every loss that I have, especially in the Liberation Ride. For every decision that I would have made otherwise. So... This game must have taken so much work. But you know what? I appreciate that work to no avail. And there were so many songs in here too. Darren has outdone himself. Quite famously. There they are again. It's just nice to just see their whole silhouettes for a change here. For the most part, we have really just seen their torsos and their heads. While doing the rides themselves, we could only see them in robes and masks. And I think the one in the center with the cloak, that has to be me, right? I think. Yeah, should be. Should be me. Oh, man. uh, there's something more. What is this? A library? With stars on the ground. This is awkward. What is there outside of the window? I can't really make it out. There are the signs of all the different terrain words. I recognize that much. Can't read what is on that book there. Hearing a lot of birds. Anything? Something? The end. Well, guys, there we have it. We finished this huge, amazing, lovely game. And I am super glad. I'm super glad that I was able to play this and have a great time with that. The true Nightwing campaign mode unlocked. Is it just going to be another difficulty? Let's check it out. True Nightwing campaign. Let me see. Do I have to continue? Let's try. The 8 scraps are revered as folk heroes in the Commonwealth, though few there know the truth of their teachings. Oh no, it's just the same spot we are before the final liberation. That's actually decent, because now I can check out some other outcomes. But for the moment, let me go back. It's probably just a new difficulty setting, but I want to see what it is all about. Probably just something ridiculously fast, right? Let's see. True Nightwing. For players who have finished the campaign. Your adversaries shall be favored by the stars themselves. Base difficulty, same as heightened. All Titan stars unlocked and some must be used. Enlightenment required to rank up rescaled. Cannot load checkpoints or restart rides. I could do that! Damn. Book of Rights and White Loot fully unlocked. Slug Market Inventory fully unlocked. And Feats of Glory introduced much sooner. Once chosen, the setting cannot be changed. That sounds very, very hard. I don't think I will do that one. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, have the greatest of days.